My name is Liza. I am 42 years old, a wife and stepmother, but I think I have become more what I am about to share. With You has changed me in ways I never expected. Be sure to subscribe so I can continue to bring you more fascinating, true stories like this, and make sure you watch this video until the end because this story is going to be incredibly interesting. That morning, I woke up with an excitement I hadn't felt in a long time. I could no longer deny the effect that living in the same house as Miss Stepson was having on me. Every morning at breakfast, I would catch his confidence, mild the deep gaze in his eyes. I knew he was my husband's son, but it was becoming harder and harder to suppress, to ignore these feelings. One evening, while my husband was away on a business trip, we were alone at home. As I prepared dinner, my stepson came into the kitchen, standing right beside me. When he touched my shoulder lightly, it was impossible to hide the spark that rose within me. "You seem a bit stressed," he said. His voice was soft yet impactful, speaking as he looked into my eyes. Each word resonated in my heart. In that moment, I realized how drawn I was to him and that I could no longer escape that pull. That night, as we looked into each other's eyes, I felt the boundaries between us start to dissolve in the gaze of this young man. Found a passion I hadn't felt in years. His youth and energy seemed to captivate me completely. After a moment of silence, that hesitant distance between us disappeared entirely. As much as I knew it was wrong, I had no choice but to surrender to these feelings. When his fingers brushed my skin, storms erupted inside me. I let myself go, setting aside all my regrets, forbidden feelings, and fear. Years yet afterward, a wave of unease washed over me. Were these confusing emotions I felt for my stepson love? Or were they just fleeting passion? And what if my husband found out, drowning in my own turmoil? I couldn't help but wonder who else would pay the price for this secret. This forbidden affair was capturing me more and more. With each passing day, hiding what I felt for him every day was only deepening the guilt I felt towards my husband. As I continued living with this burden of secrecy, each moment in that same house was pushing me further into a deeper trap. One night, when my husband came home from work and fell asleep early, my heart started racing with each quiet step toward my stepson's room. The excitement building inside me was impossible to contain. When he saw me standing there, the surprise in his eyes quickly transformed into that familiar spark. As I entered the room, his hands pulled me toward him. In that instant, time seemed to stop. Everything around us disappeared into silence. When I felt his breath on my neck, a shiver spread through my entire body. His hands moved over my skin, and the flame of desire inside me grew even stronger. Like shadows on the wall, we moved in silence. Yet our passion was anything but quiet. Our breaths quickened, but we stayed carefully, intensely silent, knowing that what we were doing was forbidden only fueled the fire. At some point, we both realized we had reached the point of no return. My heart was racing. Just a few walls away, my husband lay fast asleep as we gave in to the pull of that moment. That night left an indelible mark in both our minds, no longer a secret, now an unforgettable memory. In the heavy silence of the room, we parted. The weight of this forbidden secret would remain lingering in my